Jeremy Hogan, an attorney, has said that the cases for the SEC and Ripple could be over in just a few days. Days, not months. Sounds exciting, right? But let's be honest, this makes us all feel the same. I miss getting reports from Jeremy Hogan every week. For those who don't know, let me explain. To learn about SEC v Ripple for years, Hogan was the person to ask. His updates were not only useful, they saved people who owned XRP. Why? Because there was a lot at stake. Everything could have gone wrong if Judge Torres made one bad decision. Things were bad for people who owned XRP, especially in the US. There were real risks. It was not just a fear that they might lose everything, it was a possibility. Still, Hogan was there the whole time, leading us with clarity and skill. His reports helped us deal with the chaos and gave us hope when we needed it the most. It was hard for regular people like me to understand what was going on in the SEC v Ripple case. It was very hard to know what would happen, especially in the days right after the SEC brought charges against Ripple. What did it all mean? Were we even going to win? That lack of information was really scary. There wasn't a clear way for us to get a good view. There are no trusted voices to lead us. After that, lawyers John Deaton and Jeremy Hogan showed up. And let me tell you, they saved my life. Their ideas were a gift, and they helped a lot of people stay calm during times of chaos. It's sad that lawyer Hogan has chosen to stop making videos for YouTube. I miss his daily updates, but I'm glad he still talks about X every once in a while. When he does, I'll be happy to share those thoughts with you. That's exactly what this video is about. Him giving his point of view. Let me go into more detail about what he thinks about this subject. But I want to be honest first before we go any further. I've never worked with money before. This isn't advice about money. Please don't use what I say or write to decide whether to buy or sell something. The only reason I make YouTube videos about crypto is because I'm interested in it. It's just for fun. Let's talk about what Attorney Hogan has to say and why it's so important. But first, there's something important you need to know. It's on your screen right now. I've already talked about this in a few videos, so I'll just quickly go over it again without adding anything. Then we can get to the good stuff. Eleanor Tarrant, a reporter for Fox Business, gave this update just 2 days ago. She wrote, "But wait, there's more. Why should Ripple still be punished when the SEC's new leaders seem to be starting over with crypto companies that they are after, in order to make rules more clear? The point that isn't said is clear. If the SEC isn't sure that anything wrong happened, why should Ripple accept the decision as it is, which would mean they are guilty? There are no clear rules for this game, so agreeing to these terms makes Ripple feel like they are being punished. This whole situation has never happened before. There isn't a plan for it. This case has been going on longer than others, which makes sense. But wait, there's more to talk about. That brings us to the question of why lawyer Hogan chose to share his thoughts in the first place. Here is the post he shared, broken down into a full thread for you. This is where things start to get really interesting. So let's dive in and look more closely. He shared a copy from Eleanor Tarrant of Fox Business Journal, and added this interesting note. It was something in Eleanor's report that caught my eye. She specifically talked about cases that were almost over and might be over soon. Let's take that apart now. For the case to end quickly, Ripple and the SEC would probably need to come to an agreement behind closed doors. This way, the parties could agree to the terms of the settlement. The appeal could be thrown out, and the settlement would never have to be approved by the trial court again. Is it possible? Yes. But if the injunction is what's said to be holding things up, then the SEC would have to agree not to apply it. A quick review. The order in question is about Ripple's institutional sales, and Judge Torres agreed with the SEC. If that is the problem, it might be hard to come to an agreement. What's the big news? Officially, Ripple's automated sales of XRP were found not to be illegal stock deals. That's a clear win for people who own XRP. But things are a little more complex if you're Ripple. There are ways around the rules, as Attorney Hogan said. But let's be honest, the order doesn't make anyone happy. Imagine having to get clever when you want to buy something across borders because you can't use XRP. Instead, you have to use stablecoins as a bridge currency. Ripple knows it's not good enough. What will happen next? Is there a way to talk things out and get that injunction lifted, or even the fines lowered? Attorney Hogan says that there are many options, and Ripple might be able to find a way to move forward. The SEC would have to agree not to follow the order if it is the most important thing. That seems like a long shot, but maybe there's a way around it, like giving Ripple a way to publicly record sales of XRP to institutional investors. This way, Ripple gets what it wants, and the SEC doesn't have to directly break the court's order. It might work, but it's a fine line to walk. Now imagine that Trump steps in as the new leader and publicly ends the war on crypto. Every part of the government that he could affect would work together to make that happen. There will be no more fights or doubts. The new normal would be a world that is good for crypto. It would be great if the SEC softened some of its tougher stances. That would make room for real growth. Of course, that would be great. Attorney Hogan may be right that it's not likely to happen, but what if, just what if, those annoying lawyers weren't really in the way but actually made it possible to move forward? Think about what would happen if with new leadership or instructions, they made it easy to just record these types of transactions. Why wouldn't Ripple jump at that? Imagine that Ripple agreed, especially if the fines were lowered or even got rid of. That's what you want to happen. It's clear why this is taking longer. So many things are going on behind the scenes. Attorney Hogan says that this is the only way he can see the case ending soon, maybe in the next few days or weeks. And what's being said fits with that. That is, a peace deal. It's lying there. To be honest, it didn't surprise me when Hogan said near the end of his speech that a real deal might happen in the next few days or weeks. He's not exactly promising it or saying it's the most likely outcome, but you know he's always very calm and sensible when it comes to these things. He doesn't always say what we want to hear. He'll tell you the harsh facts, even if they make you feel bad. That's what he's done for years. He's shown us the situations that might make us think. In that case, when he says it's technically possible, I pay attention. For example, what if we wake up one day and the news is on? It could be today or tomorrow. You never know. I'm not saying I know what the odds are, I'm just saying it's interesting to think about. For now, let's go back to Attorney Hogan. He jumps in and asks why they didn't just ask the appeals court to uphold the decision. It turns out that appellate courts don't have the power to carry out decisions. Yes, sometimes they might agree to a deal in a case involving more than one district court. But the case still goes back to the first court. The appeals court basically just nods and says, "This works for us." The trial court is then left to do the rest. If the two sides come to a simple peace deal without the trial court approving it, we probably will never know the specifics. It stays a secret. Remember when Taco Bell was sued over their Chihuahua ads and lost? During the appeal, the case was quietly dropped because the parties had reached an agreement. Later, word spread that they agreed to pay about half of the amount that was in the ruling. So yes, these kinds of things do happen. That brings us to the real question. Is there a chance? What line does that come from in Dumb and Dumber? Are you telling me there's a chance? Beloved, that GIF though, perfect in every way. It's the GIF that wins every internet fight. In all honesty, that GIF alone makes the movie worth watching. That's something we can all agree on, right? Of course, we're not stupid. Lawyer Hogan adds his voice, making a key point stand out. A settlement deal, make sure that everyone stays in charge of everything. That's what every arbitrator will tell you. During the meeting, he says it over and over. It's also risky to try to get the ruling sent back to the trial court. Some judges will just say no, as we saw in the SEC v. Penn case when a motion to change the ruling was flatly turned down. Hogan quickly shows a screenshot of the case information, letting people know they can stop if they want to learn more. I'm not going to talk about it here. It's not necessary for this video, but it gives a good picture of the law in the